Think about this. Almost every relationship that left you confused, hurt, or chasing someone who pulled away, it wasn't random. It was a pattern. A pattern wired into your nervous system long before you ever fell in love. What if I told you? Your brain has a blueprint for connection, and it decides who you chase, who you run from, and even why the same arguments keep happening in your relationships. Before you're even aware of it, pause for a second, and if that hits somewhere deep, hit the like button right now. Because today, we're going to decode that blueprint, your attachment style. There are three main ones most people fall into: anxious, avoidant, and secure. And once you see which one is running your life, you can start to change it, not just for romance, but for every bond you care about. Here's the unsettling truth. Attachment styles aren't about who you love. They're about how safe your nervous system feels when loving. They're formed in childhood, shaped by how your caregivers responded to your needs. Not perfectly, not maliciously, just repeatedly. And those early patterns became the glasses through which you now read every text message, every delay in reply, every sigh or look in someone's eyes. So let's break them down, but not like a textbook, like a mirror. And I want you to listen for the one that feels uncomfortably familiar. First, anxious attachment. If this is you, relationships feel like a tightrope. You're hyper-aware of distance. A slow text back feels like rejection. A small change in tone feels like danger. You crave closeness, reassurance, presence. But the harder you reach, the more the other person seems to pull away. And here's the painful twist. You often end up with people who are avoidant, not because you like pain, but because their emotional distance feels like the love you once had to earn. Second, avoidant attachment. Date. If this is you, intimacy feels like a trap. The closer someone gets, the more you feel your freedom slipping. You value independence, control, space, not because you hate connection, but because deep down, you fear being consumed by it. You might leave texts unanswered, avoid serious talks. Pull back when things get too good, not because you don't care, but because caring feels dangerous. And ironically, you often attract the anxious, the ones who chase, which confirms your fear. See? Love always wants too much. And finally, secure attachment. This is the one most people think they have until their patterns tell. Different story. Securely attached people are comfortable with closeness and with space. They can express needs without guilt, hear no without panic, give love without calculation. They still get hurt. But their nervous system doesn't turn every moment into a threat. Now here's a mini hook. Most people aren't just one. They're a mix, often anxious in one relationship, avoidant in another. Because attachment isn't a label. It's a strategy. A set of moves your brain thinks will keep you safe. So here's the first real step. Don't ask which one am I. Ask which one comes out when I feel most afraid. Because your true attachment style isn't who you are on your best. Days it's who shows up when the bond feels at risk. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you text someone you care about, and hours pass. The anxious style spirals. Did I do something wrong? Are they pulling away? The avoidant style detaches. See, this is why I don't rely on anyone. The secure style, it waits, then checks in. Not because it doesn't care, but because it trusts the bond enough to stay calm. And here's the heartbreaking truth. Most attachment wounds come from inconsistency. Not from never getting love, from getting it unpredictably. Enough to hope, never enough to rest. So, can you change your style? Yes and no. You can't erase your wiring, but you can rewire your responses. And that begins with awareness. Catching the moment your style is about to hijack your behavior. Because here's the thing, nobody tells you. Your attachment style isn't about who you love. It's about how safe your body feels in love. And the moment you start giving yourself the safety, you've been outsourcing to others. The pattern starts to break, but that's only the start, because the real shift happens when you see how your style and theirs create the dance you keep repeating. And some of those dances are almost designed to fail, unless one person decides to break the rhythm. Asterisk, asterisk, because here's where it gets. It's fascinating and painful, anxious and avoidant. Types often find each other like magnets. Why? Because they both recreate what's familiar, not what's healthy. The anxious reaches for closeness. The avoidant steps back for safety. And now the anxious feels abandoned, which makes them cling more, which makes the avoidant retreat further, and the secure. They often end up being the glue, or the one who quietly leaves when the dance never evens out. So, how do you break that cycle without pretending to be someone you're not? Here's the first counterintuitive step. Don't try to fix the other person. Map your own trigger first. Ask, when do I feel most unsafe? What do I do to get safety back? Do I text more? Do I withdraw? Do I start testing them without saying? Why? This is your pattern. Name it. Own it. Only then can you change the dance. Here's a powerful tool psychologists use called attachment remapping. When you feel the old fear rising, the one that says they're leaving or I'm trapped, pause and ask, what would a secure version of me do right now? Not what feels easiest, what feels safest in the long term. That one question shifts you from reacting to repatterning, and here's the twist. Secure attachment isn't about being always calm or always available. It's about being transparent. Saying, hey, when I don't hear from you for a while, I start to get anxious. It's not your job to fix it. I just want to share it so I don't turn it into a story in my head. That is how you stop the cycle. Not by never needing, but by expressing need before it becomes demand. And here's a mini hook. If you're waiting to become fully secure before you enter a relationship, you'll be waiting forever. Attachment is rewired in relationship through new experiences that contradict the old wounds. Think about this. Every time you set a boundary and the person stays, your anxious style softens. Every time you express need and they don't run, your avoidant side loosens. Every time you stay calm when you want to panic, your brain learns love doesn't have to be war, but I'll tell you something that might free you. Your attachment. Style is not a diagnosis. It's a map. A map of where you learn to hide and where you still reach for safety. And maps are meant to be updated. So if you've been anxious your whole life, it doesn't mean you're doomed to chase. If you've been avoidant, it doesn't mean you're destined to stay alone. It means your brain got good at surviving a certain environment, and now you get to choose a different one. Here's the final piece, the one people resist the most. You cannot demand security from someone else if you haven't built it with yourself first. That doesn't mean self-sufficiency to the point of isolation. It means you can hold your own fear, your own worth, without making someone else carry it for you. Because the moment you stop saying, make me feel safe, and start saying, I'm learning to feel safe, walk with me, or don't. That's when attachment shifts from survival to love. So here's my challenge to you. Drop a comment with your style, anxious, avoidant, or secure, and one tiny behavior you're going to try this week that your secure self would do. Not your scared self, your future self. Because that's how the rewiring starts. Not in theory, but in one small, braver act.